All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I can't see you because I can't see the computer screen. So, but you can see the instrument. We're on a journey right now, and I want to tell you a little bit about this. Um, the product series that we do. I watch them all, and maybe for a different reason than you watch them, but I love to watch the presenters because they we get to prepare the material, on using features and things that are important to us, and each person has different likes and different and dislikes, and it's really fun to watch the product series classes because then you get to see which features that each one of us think are important. So that's what I'd like to do, and I'm going to start out right now with a little bit of music to get us going. We're going to do Gentle on My Mind and a little Glenn Campbell. Here we go.
All right, I don't know if that's plugged in, but it sounds really quiet. Can you hear me, Joanie? Joanie? Well,
I
we'll
can
just have
hear
one.
nothing.
We'll have a quiet song and then, because I don't think she can hear us. Can you hear me, Joanie?
I can now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's plugged in or something because it sounds really quiet. Can't really
Really
hear it.
quiet.
Yeah, I can't really hear it.
Brian, Sean's saying it sounds really quiet.
Yeah, it's
Really
like
hear it.
like it's not plugged in or something and coming out of the microphone or something. There we go.
Is that better?
Yep, that's better. Maybe just a tiny bit more and we're good to go. Nice and loud in the room there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So, like I was saying, the product series are really fun because you'll get to see in today's presentation which features I think are really neat and special and important. And in every other one you see, you get little tips here and there. So I really enjoy doing that as well, right along with you. And I'm so glad you're here to get today with us. Thanks for being on. And this is the journey. And the first thing I want to tell you about the journey is it has a 44 note upper keyboard and a 61 note lower keyboard. And that really comes in handy because we have more than an octave of left hand on the right split, as we say. So that gives me a lot of notes down here. You heard me jump down and play a harmonica for a little while. And the split keyboard, it really comes of great value to me anyway, because it gives me another sound without me having to change a button at all. I don't have to touch anything, which is great. The less buttons we have to touch, but can still sound great. That's what's more important than anything. Something that was really special with the Fanfare when it came out, and now with the Journey as well, is it has a very long music rack. It actually will hold 6 to 8 pages. At one point, one of the Lowry people I worked with said it holds 60 to 80 books, right? I said, no, 6 to 8. So we know when those multiple, if you're playing a medley or you have a lot of pages in something, you can line them all up, and it's really nice. It also duals as a partial roll top, as we would say, because it comes down and it closes to cover all the electronics, and that's a really important thing to do there. We don't need to worry about the keys, but when we're not in use, then we can pull the music rack down and cover the electronics. But like I say all the time, always keep your instrument on, except when it's thundering or lightning, of course, then turn it off. But always keep it on, because if it's lit up and you walk by it, you'll play it. If it's dark, you'll say, oh, I'll get to that later. And sometimes later never comes. So it's always a good idea to leave it on. And it looks really nice when the roll top is down, excuse me. You can still see all the lights on, and it looks really terrific. So I very much like that about
It's like
the Journey.
calling to you.
I'm sorry?
I said it's like it's calling to you.
Yes. When
Play
you
me.
see it lit up, it's going to say, play me, play me, play me. That's right. So I'm going to start off with a feature I really like for when you're learning a song, and that is the golden harp. I turn the golden harp on, and then I have choices. Do I want it to be up and down, or just up, or just down, or you have a bunch of choices to do. And I'm going to do a little bit of Danny Boy with this, and I'm going to use some French horns here for a minute, and then I'm going to tell you something that can vary the volume of the golden harp, which I think is really important. So take a listen. Now, the really neat thing about that is there's a feature that's been really wonderful for a lot of people, because everybody's hearing is a little bit different, and it's called the balance button. And if you go touch to the accompaniment side, it brings the accompaniment up. If I have no sounds on for my lower sounds in my chords, and all I have is my golden harp, it's going to make my golden harp be a little bit louder, which is great, because sometimes, depending on what sounds you're using, golden harp can be a little bit soft. And we help people who have touch screens, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit here, but we can go into the levels and the features and turn up the golden harp to be 100%. But that's a really nice thing, and that's what I did. I turned the balance toward the accompaniment so that you could really have that golden harp, and I didn't have any rhythm behind it. I wasn't using any drums. I was just going along and as if I was going to learn the song with my right hand to start.
Do you want to take a question here real quick?
Sure.
We got a question from Judith. Judith, if you want to unmute yourself.
I'm having a lot of trouble hearing. It's not loud enough.
Is it me that's not loud enough, or the instrument?
Everything.
Is it like that for everybody? If you nod yes, if you're all having a rough time.
Can you turn your personal volume up as well on your computer?
My computer volume, I think, is as high as it'll go.
My phone. Okay.
Try your speakers as well.
Okay, so you're as high as you can go.
Yes.
So we can only turn it up a certain
Okay,
amount here
well,
before it starts clipping.
I'll
and then
do
it
my
starts
best.
getting distorted on our end. And so if we go above that, then it's going to be distorted for everybody. And so if you guys can turn your volume up on your headphones or on your computer or whatever you might be listening on, that'll help. Because if we go over a certain kind of sound threshold on the mixer, it's going to sound distorted for everybody. So obviously it's something we try to manage as best we can, but hopefully it still sounds good for everybody.
It sounded fine for us.
Great.
Okay, it's probably my keyboard. So I'll do my best.
Okay, well, thank you for that information. All right, we're going to move on to the Journey. Has 144 styles. I'm actually not a numbers person per se when it comes to knowing how many presets, how many styles. I just look at it as all of the instruments, especially from midline on up, give you a lot of choices. But I think it is fascinating that you can have 144 styles. And on the left side here, where you're looking at the music styles themselves, you don't have 144 buttons. Well, that's because we have 3 performers. And I don't think we really talk as much about that as maybe we should, because they're totally different. So if I'm on a rhythm style and I'm on a full band, I'm going to get one particular rhythm style. If I go to my pianist performer, then I'm going to have a totally different rhythm style, or music style as they're called today. If I go to my guitarist, I'm going to have a whole different music style. So for each button of a music style, I actually have 3 different rhythms. And that gives you a lot of options. Now with the Journey, when I go to these performers, I actually have 4 different rhythms per each. So 4 full bands, 4 different rhythms for pianist, 4 different rhythms for guitars. So that's how we kind of add up and get to 144. And the performers are real important because they all serve a different purpose and give you a totally different style for depending on whichever kind of song you want to play. Sure, another question?
We got a question from Joanne. Joanne, do you want to unmute yourself there? Well, Joanne, if you can unmute yourself, you can feel free to ask your question, but I don't see you there. Let's move on here, Joanie. If she has a question, feel free to unmute.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the standards full band performer, and in that there's 4 different rhythm styles, and this rhythm style actually that I'm going to choose is smooth foxtrot, and I absolutely fell in love with it when it came out because it just gave a whole variance to what we had been used to with quote-unquote foxtrots. This is smooth foxtrot, came from off of the Imperial, which is a limited edition, very, very high-end instrument, and it's just got a great tone to it. So listen to this. This is going to be Begin the Begin.
So real quick, Joanie, I just wanted to make a quick public service announcement here. We got about 50 people on here, and there was a lightning strike very close to our store here in Sin City Center, Florida, and it just took out one of the buildings about 2 doors down from us. So if we lose power, we're sorry. Sean, I just wanted to make sure you're on hand to potentially take over if you have to. Sometimes we get in the middle of a thunderstorm or whatever and end up losing power, and that is quite possible. It might happen in the next little bit. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up. And Sean, please stand by.
Okay.
This is the end of your public service announcement.
Thank you, Brian. Well, as you know, there are many, many things we cannot control, and the weather is one of them. So if you see us go dark, we'll try to come back to you. But in the meantime, Sean's there in sunny Arizona, so hopefully we won't get stuck for too long. One of the really nice things that I really enjoy about the 4-line screen on the Journey is that, like, for instance, when I was playing the smooth foxtrot, I could look at the screen and see what my sounds were. So I started and it said clarinet, and then slash, which means what's on the lower right split, it told me that I had a saxophone. So I can actually know what sounds that I'm getting and playing for each style setup, which is what I was going to talk about now. Style setup does exactly what it says it's going to do. When you choose your rhythm style and your performer, style setup chooses sounds for you to be able to play. In the case of the Journey, we have 9 sounds. We have style setup 0, and then we have 8 more. 8 on the upper, 8 on the lower right split. So that's really important because then we don't have to go up here and fiddle, so to speak, with the different buttons, because we already have really great mixtures of sounds right in front of us to touch and vary our sound depending on, you know, what we're playing. If it's the bridge, I can just choose a different number and it'll give me something else. So I really, really appreciate style setups on all instruments. It makes it so much easier than when you have to go and actually touch the buttons and scroll to sounds you want. So that's a little bit about style setup, which I'm sure you're aware of. Another thing that's really valuable that we don't get until we get to this level is called the style list. And I don't know if you can see it in the screen right now, but if I select the style list, it starts in alphabetical order, and I can scroll and it lists every single style, which there's, if you remember, 144 of them. It tells me every style that's in there. And when I get to the style I want, I press select, and it immediately takes me to the button, so I don't have to go looking to find it. So the style list was a very great accompaniment to the new mid-size instruments that we could have, which would be helpful for not just the hobbyist, but I don't know where all the styles are myself. And so I frequently, always actually use the style list to help me. Now I'm going to go over here now to my little bit of country and my guitarist, and this is a special rhythm that was only on the upper end instruments, and it's called Classic Western, and it's a wonderful background, and one of the songs that we probably don't talk about in Conductor Magic, but one of the songs that works really well with it, besides the William Tell Overture, excuse me. But another one that works really well with it is Ode to Joy. Have a listen.
Easy play.
And that was just a little bit to show you what it's like to be able to play along with the intros and endings. And I love to do that. And once upon a time, when the intros and endings got really more sophisticated, when I was with Lowry, the person who was in charge would always say, "Don't do that. Don't play along with it." And we would say, "Why?" Because people just want to hear the intro and ending. Well, it adds a lot if you can. I actually did an advanced class for a little while in Spring Hill, where I wrote out the notes that you would play for the intro or ending of different rhythms. And the people who were studying with me, they absolutely loved it, because now you feel like you're playing along right from the beginning and all the way to the end. So I really love that. If you say I couldn't do that, I'll tell you, yes, you could, because I could provide you with the notes to play along with some of the different rhythm styles. So love you to get that information if you like. Oh, we have a question. Okay.
We do. We have a question from Inez.
Yeah,
Inez,
what
can
was
you-
the name of that style?
Classic Western. It's
Thank
the
you.
country with the guitarist performer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Or do you know where you find that on a big window instrument, if you have one of those?
On the Alpha Pad, we'll talk about it on the Inspire.
All right.
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, good, 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 good. So there you heard a very sophisticated background. It sounded like, 101 pieces of players were behind me, and I was playing the #1 song in Conductor Magic, "Ode to Joy." That was it. So it's not to say for any loss that very important to realize how great you can sound on a Lowry, no matter what your skill set is. It's really not about that. I'm going to switch it around now, and I'm going to go to my Broadway music style, and I'm going to go to my guitarist, and there's a rhythm style called East Coast Swing Jive. And when it first came out, which I believe was on the Sterling, but I'm not positive of that, I loved it. It's a Petula Clark type of background. And I'd go around to the different stores and I would ask them, "So what do you think of East Coast Swing Jive?" And they were like, "No, I don't really use that." And I said, "Why not?" And it turned out that they didn't like the name of it, East Coast Swing Jive. So I said, "Try it. Slow it down and try it, because it's an awesome rhythm." And I'm going to do a little "Couldn't Live Without Your Love" on East Coast Swing / Jive. So that was a little Petula Clark there for you. But depending on how you vary the speed, the tempo of that rhythm style, you can use that for tons and tons and tons of songs. So don't let the title of it put you off. I encourage you to give it a little try, okay? Do we have any questions? How are we doing so far?
Oh, we still have power. I actually just sent Sean a video from outside.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's-
the
it's looking
instrument
pretty nasty,
the
but-
journey I'm on right now actually faces so that I'm looking out the front window and you can barely see through the front window. It is not you can't even call it rain.
It's raining sideways.
It's a monsoon. Yes.
We're-
So
we
I'm
still
glad
have power, though.
I'm glad we
still
have power, and
That's
I'm
good.
glad we're inside and not out. That's absolutely
sure.
correct. The value of song setup is so important for more than one reason. First of all, song setup does exactly what it says it's going to do. It sets up the whole instrument, all from the graphic mixer all the way to the end of the line over here. It sets everything up for you. It will not play for you. You have to play, but it sets up everything so you don't have to guess about the buttons. That's particularly important if you look at a Hal Leonard book and you go, well, I'd like to play this song, but I don't know what to use in order to play it. Well, we go into song setup. Song setup, in the case of the Journey, gives you 246 titles. That's a lot of titles. Most beginners and intermediate players, hobbyists, most people you play about between 200 and 300 songs. Now you may be saying, oh no, I can't play that many songs. But if you went through your books and you played all the things that you really like, it's probably between 200 and 300. And 246 song setups allow us to take the guesswork out of being able to know what to use and to use it. The other thing, I like to use it as a teaching tool. And the reason for that is because I see, well, when they took this particular style, whatever it is, what sounds did they put together for that particular style? So that teaches you that, well, when I'm playing a certain style, here's some recommendations for which sounds would work really great. So it's a great teaching tool. And the third thing I use it for personally is I see what the style setup is, and then I say, okay, now that I know that, I'd like to do something different. So it challenges me to say, well, what else could I do other than what they gave me? So it's really pretty vital to use, and it's such a big help for hobbyists, and I think you can really get a lot out of 246 song setups. So moving right along here, I'm going to go to Latin and guitarist, and I'm going to play this just awesome rhythm. It's called Trios Romanticos. It's very beautiful. Goes really great for the song I'm going to play, and maybe you can tell me what it's called later. I am going to turn my drums up so that I have a drum background, because on the guitarist, of course, and the pianist performers, the drums do not come on. You can raise the drums and have them, but they don't come on naturally. You have to turn them up. So I'm going to do that, and I want to tell you that a very limited edition, which is one of the most fabulous of there's probably there's 4 instruments that Lowry made that are the absolute best of the best. And this was the first one, and it was called the Liberty, and the sound was just absolutely magnificent. And that's the first time we got to hear Trios Romanticos. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if we get blown away. right. Does anybody know the name of that song?
Rich
Now
put
or
it.
never.
The solo mio.
Oh,
We have
solo
one person,
mio.
Rich said, "Oh, solo mio."
That's right. Beautiful song. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm going to move along here because I'm going to be headed over to the Inspire in just a second, hoping that we don't get electrocuted any minute. The thunder is louder than the instrument, believe it or not. That's what it's like. If you don't like the weather in Florida, wait 5 minutes and it'll be different. Want to tell you a few more things about the journey that I think are really fabulous. 60 songs are built in. And the 60 songs, that is so cool because if you're learning a new song, I was going to show you, but maybe I'll show you on the Inspire for lack of time. But 60 songs are in there. And so let's say you wanted to learn Paper Roses. And I call up the Paper Roses, and I just want to play the right hand because I don't know how to play the left hand yet. Well, I turn on the songs, and I go ahead and play just the right hand, and the left hand chords will play for me, or vice versa. Maybe I want to play just the left-hand chords and I don't want to be bothered with the melody till I learn it. I can go ahead and do that. So 60 opportunities you have in those songs. We have 6 category setups. These are,
Oh boy, you're still on. Didn't go out yet.
Check, check. Can anybody hear us?
Yep. I hear you.
Everything's okay.
Anybody here? Sean, are we still on? Sean's
Yes,
not
you
on.
are.
You're fine.
We are still
All's
on.
well.
All's well.
You are still there.
Maybe they just can't hear us.
I can hear you.
We hear you. And the mic's working.
Yeah, I hear Joanie
Yeah.
okay. Well,
There you go.
We're sorry about that. We just got hit with a major bolt of lightning, and it knocked out my mic and one of the instruments. And anyway, so we have 6.
Oh boy.
Sorry, we got another big one there. Sean, can you take over for a minute?
Yeah, everything looks all right. I just want to show you guys. This is kind of neat. This is actually what they're looking at right outside. It looks like this here. Let me mute it here so it doesn't make noise. It's like raining sideways, they said.
Where is that?
That is
it's,
Sun City Center, Florida.
Wow.
Can't quite see it there, but it's, yeah, raining sideways. And Brian said, well, we might even see a tornado out here. So I said, well, go inside that and take a picture for me. I'm curious. So we do have a question from Bev, so I want to get to that real quick while we're sort of taking a break. Go ahead, Bev.
I'm a real newbie, so I'm going to ask maybe if you will clarify for me. When she said she was going to add the drums, did she go to bass and turn up the bass? Is that how she added drums?
Not to the bass, but there's actually a drum volume button. So it's right next to your screen. Which instrument do you have, Bev?
I got the Journey.
Perfect. Yeah, right next to that screen in the center, just to the left of it, there's a tempo, and then right next to that it says volume, and there's a picture of a drum set. So that means drum volume.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know what that was. Thank
Well, there you go. Yeah, drum volume. So let's see. Any other questions? We'll take a minute to answer questions. I think they'll probably come back in a second here. It looks like everything's still working for them. So any other questions or anything?
Sean?
Yes.
Okay, that last, she played the Latin something romantico.
Yes.
Trios,
Okay.
Romanticos.
Trios, okay. Now, how do I find that on the symphony?
On the symphony, it is one of your, I believe it's one of your new rhythms that are built in. Check your Latin button and look for the new symphony showcase
Okay,
section.
thanks.
You're welcome.
So one thing more I wanted to mention before I move over to the Inspire, Lord willing, is we have pedal magic on the Journey, which is such a fabulous thing because most people with the fill and the glide really have trouble using those foot switches inside the expression pedal. You don't have to do that anymore. We touch pedal magic and advance it it lights up, and now I don't know if you can see this by camera, but it's lit up fill. That means anytime I step on any pedal, it's going to do the fill for me. So I no longer have to maneuver the switches to the left and right of the expression pedal. And for a lot of people, that makes such a big difference. They really enjoy that because they don't have to struggle. So we're gonna kind of try to turn around here, and I'm gonna go over now to the Inspire, which got knocked out, but we're gonna turn it back on, Lord willing. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Step one. And I have a lot to say about the Inspire, and I hope you will take this in. When you get to a touch screen, which is what the Inspire is, your whole world changes totally. And you don't have to take my word for it. You just talk to anyone who's gone from a Journey to an Inspire, or maybe they went from an Easy 10 to an Inspire. Talk to anybody who got a touch screen, and your whole world is different because it communicates so many things to you, and it is so much easier to operate because you don't have to find things like we would if we didn't have the touch screen. So that's the most valuable, and there's hundreds of really great valuable things on the Inspire, but let's just start with the fact that now we have a touch screen, and involved in the touch screen we have a keypad, and when I touch the keypad it gives me numbers. And so if I know what tempo I want to play, I touch my tempo button, and it automatically goes to it. I do not have to scroll. If I go to my alphabet, it brings up letters, and then the first letter of the song you want to play, you put it in, and then you touch song setup, and it'll take you to right to that group of the alphabet. If you're looking for a particular style, you put in the name of the first letter of the style and touch style list, and it'll take you right to it. Well, these are all things that are fast and make it more fun because you're not searching, or like I am sometimes on the computer. I have a new computer, and it's like torture learning how to use it. And when you don't know what something does, a button, it could be very frustrating, and that's disappointing. You don't have those issues when you have a touch screen. It's going to talk to you, literally. And for that, I think that's just one of the greatest things on here. And another really simple thing that we just spoke about with the fill and the pedal was now we have a touch bar. And the touch bar will do the fill. So now I don't have to do anything except drop my thumb, and it will do the fill for me. There's about, I believe, 16 to 18 other functions that the touch bar will do as well, but I always use the touch bar for the fill because it's just so convenient and so easy. So on the Inspire, we have the roll top. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Very, very nice.
Ooh.
Very nice that we can use. We have a nice size bench. I don't know if you can see it by the camera, but very nice size bench and very well padded. And as you and I know, when we get into this hobby and we're playing, I was playing on a quite a small instrument this morning for a little while, and I said to myself, this bench is so hard. Well, not here. We have great Italian leather, and the bench is terrific. A lot of high-end features on the Inspire. We have two 61-note keyboards, and that comes in so handy because we're very full keyboards. You'll never run out of keys, which I think is really important. And there are 286 rhythm styles on it. That means you're not going to get bored for a long time because you just have all these different styles to use. And believe it or not, I don't know if you're familiar with the term the Patriot, but the Patriot was a top-of-the-line instrument, and the Patriot has 286 rhythm styles as well. So that's what they did. The thing that makes people really love the Inspire is it's a smaller cabinet. That's important to people. Size matters. You know, it used to be the bigger the better. The bigger it was, the more it had. And that's really not the case today with technology the way it is. It doesn't have to be big. So they shrunk the size of the Inspire. That was the number one important thing for you. The other thing they shrunk was the price. And that was very important to people too. So, and such a nice compact instrument, but lots and lots, hundreds of features from all the upper end instruments. I'm going to play you one that I think people really enjoy. This is a country, and it's Floyd's piano. And I just want to tell you a little bit. I don't know if you can see the screen. Brian, can you zoom in here for me? Okay. Oh, here we have it on the TV, so maybe you can see that. So just above basic, there's two, and they're colored. One is black and one is brown. Well, the black rhythm style in that position on any style that you choose, that's the pianist style. And then the one below it, that's the guitarist style. So instead of having a pianist and a guitarist button, performer button, it's built into the screen. So I touch Floyd's piano and it sets everything on the instrument up for me, and I don't have to do anything. So let's take a listen here, shall we? So, you know, the harmony that Floyd Kramer did was very unique because it actually took one tone and put it above the melody. It's a very difficult thing to do, and he made his whole reputation based on that harmony that he was able to do. Well, we now have it in one button. I don't have to use multiple fingers. I just play my melody, and I get the Floyd Kramer sound, which is wonderful. So, moving right along here, I'm going to tell. Yep, let's take a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have a question from Cheryl. Cheryl, go ahead and unmute if you'd like.
You're still muted. We can't hear you.
Yep, we can see you, but we can't.
But you look great. You look great, though.
Can you unmute, Cheryl, please?
I just did.
There you go.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yes, I have Floyd's piano on, but I don't have a piano sound in my Rialto. It's not a piano sound.
Not on a style setup. You're going to find that in your category setups.
Well, it should give you the.
Or you didn't have your
Hero.
style setup. If you don't have your style setup light on, it may be there. But if you don't see it there, you can always find it in your category setups.
Okay, fine.
Good question. Thank you. All right. So a little more to be said about style setup. You know, we talked about on the journey, we had 8, actually 9. When you get to this level, the Inspire on up, you have 11 So you have style setup 0 and 10 more sounds. Then on the Inspire, which is really nice, you also have a vintage button. That gives you 11 more sounds on the upper and the lower right split. So you actually have 22 available sounds. And you say, well, how do I know what button to push? That's a very good question. My new best friend is my custom button on the lower left, just past the power button, and it's custom number 3. And what custom number 3 does is it on the board, if you look there, it tells me every single sound on the upper keyboard and every single sound on the lower keyboard. So I keep this screen on all the time, and I can see and say to myself, oh, well, what sound do I want to try next? Oh, I think I want to try strings duet with a flugelhorn on the lower, so I'll touch number 4. Oh my gosh, there it is, and I have it. So that is your new best friend. That's everybody's best friend. And I encourage you to always leave it on that screen, because then you know exactly what you're working with. So if you do the style setups, 11 on each one, 22, and then you do 11 vintage and 11 vintage here, now we have 44 times 286 rhythm styles, gives you 12,584 sounds. Now, that'll keep you busy for a little while, don't you think? It's just a way to have all the variety and never get bored, because you can always try a different sound. So that's a really important thing to me as well. Like I said, my touch screen and my custom 3, they're my best friends. They do all the work for me that I don't have to do. I'm going to go to ballad right now, and I'm going to go to a style called Dream Kiss. And Dream Kiss came off of the Patriot, which is an upper and elite series, top of the line model, and you can play so many different songs. It's a signature style for a kiss to build a dream on. However, Gonna Make Your Brown Eyes Blue, that works perfectly with it too. And if you're really ambitious, you can play both of those songs together and make yourself a medley. So that could be a lot of fun too. Here's a listen. So that's a fun little 2 songs there that you can put together and really create a nice little melody to play. So I'd encourage you to check that out. I love Dream Kiss. It just works for so many, 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 many different songs.
Well, I would actually I would plug a quick version of this. If anybody has ever heard of the singer K.D., the initials K.D. Lang, there was a tribute to Tony Bennett a few years back where they sang a bunch of tunes that he had sang, And "Kiss to Be Able to Dream On" was sung by K.D. Lang. So if you like that song, look that version up on YouTube. That's one of my favorite of all time versions of that song.
Is that for the Kiss to Bill Dream one?
That is.
Oh, okay, good. Wow, I learned something today too. I'll check it out.
It's worth looking up, I promise.
Great. Well, I'm just going to mention again about the category setups. You have 3 pages of 8 category setups, which gives us a total of 22 sounds, and that brings us to 528 sounds are just involved in the category setups. So of all the 12,000 presets or setups we talked about here, now we have another 528 over here. So with just touching these buttons right here and really not having to touch other buttons at all, we're provided with thousands and thousands of opportunities of great sounds that are already blended. Back in the day, as an early artist with Lowry, we had to create and blend and make our own sounds. That's no longer the case. The chefs at Lowry have done it all for you, and all you do is utilize your setups and your category setups, and you're good to go on anything you would like to play. So I think that's really valuable. I'm going to go to a ballad rhythm now. This is called Satin Lady, which I'm pulling up, and I have a lot of choices. It came out on the Sterling, and it was a signature style for the title being Satin Doll. So I'm going to use Fake It with this in the middle of it, and all I'm going to do is press and hold a black key. And the thing that makes Fake It really work for you, because some people say, I can't ever make it sound right, you have to change your chords. So when I want to take a little interlude and I'm playing, I change my chord. I go back to the beginning of the song, and I just play the chords. And I hold one black key, and Fake It takes over and creates a whole instrumental melody for me, really, and I'm not doing anything but holding one key. If you have a non-player in the house, it's so fun, because when you're in the middle of a song, they can come over, hold one black key, and the two of you sound like you're making a magnificent duet. So this is a little of Satin Lady.
Oh, they're frozen for me. Are they frozen for you guys? Yes? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's
maybe
frozen.
I thought maybe my screen froze or something.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
that's okay.
frozen.
I think that was going to be her last tune, so just in case, well, maybe they'll come back. If not, I'll just kind of wrap things up a little bit and take any questions for the end. She talked a lot about the EY series, the Fanfare Journey, Inspire, and Rialto, and kind of how you can take advantage of a lot of those features. So any questions on anything she talked about? I don't think so. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for today. I think I had something I wanted to make sure I mentioned, but now I can't remember it, of course, so that's okay. Just make sure you're seeing our... Somebody say something?
You're getting old.
I'm getting old. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm so old.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question.
I hear somebody.
This is Ken.
Hi, Ken.
I've got a Rialto.
Okay.
And I thought maybe I could record voice if I put on record and use the mic. Plug the mic in.
You can. You have to record it as what's called audio. So there's 2 different ways to record, and I won't get too much into it because it can be kind of a whole class on its own. So give me just a second. Let me see if I can pull it up just to kind of show you the 2 different versions here, because it's...
I know those versions because I record. Okay. I could record both of them, but
okay.
I tried to put it on record, to record the song, and I tried to use my voice to sing, and it would not take my voice.
It should. You have to have a microphone plugged into it.
I had a microphone.
Okay.
I'm talking over the mic.
Okay. The only thing I can think of is you have to make sure you touch the audio button, because if you record just a regular Lowry track without touching this audio button, it can record, but it'll record as what's called an audio what is it called? A Lowry file. If you touch this button first, it'll record. That's a terrible circle. It'll record just the audio, so it won't record like the setups you have. It'll record everything you're playing, everything you're singing or talking, but you have to make sure you touch that audio button first.
Oh, so you don't push the record button then.
You touch the record button, you just touch audio first, then record.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I went the other way.
On class, because that recording's kind of a cool thing. You can do a lot with it, but there are a couple ways to do it. Mm-hmm.
I've done about 70 recordings already.
Wow, you got a whole.
But I also sing, and so what I've been doing is recording it, and then I play it back and sing with it.
Oh, cool.
And I record that with a digital recorder because I didn't know how to use a system to record my voice.
Okay, well, contact if you have a PA, contact them. If not, respond to one of those emails that you get and say, hey, I need a PA or I need somebody to help me out with something. And we can do that, because really if you record it the way you are and then play it back using that audio button, you can record vocals over it. So we can kind of show you how to do that. So.
Yeah, that I'd like to do.
Good.
The one thing I like about playing it, so when you're singing it back, it shows the chords coming up on the screen.
Yep.
And it helps your timing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot harder to do that than it is to just play the chords and sing.
Oh yeah, I imagine. Yeah, I can't do two things at once, so I couldn't do it either. But I'm gonna move on here. Yep. Somebody say something.
I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Sue. All right. Well, everybody have a good rest of your day. Keep coming to our events on Friday. This is the main announcement on Friday. Make sure you attend. We have one of my all-time favorite people and concert artists, Carrie Price, who's going to play on Friday for our Zoom musical. It's 11 o'clock in Arizona, and it's 2 p.m. in Florida. So make sure you attend, because he is probably the most fun guy. Not a fungus, but a fun guy. And he is going to blow your socks off. So it's going to be a great show. I'm excited to see it. So that's Friday at 11 o'clock Arizona, 2 p.m. Florida. And I think, what is it, Clive, 8 p.m.? No, 6 p.m. in England, something like that. But have a good rest of your day, and thanks for coming. All right? Bye.